Module 6 Mind Map for the grand theories of personality. We're going to look at the different ways we look at and determine personality. So here we have our person. Starting off, we're going to start with Freud and psychoanalysis, one of the earliest clinicians. So he believed personality was kind of determined by the hidden parts of our minds, which is made up of the id, the ego, and the superego. So the id is our primitive, all of our kind of desires and emotions, super demanding. The superego is our morality and conscience, and our ego is the middle ground that tries to mediate between the two. Later on, Carl Rogers took Freud's theories and kind of developed them. So we've got the idea of self-actualization, which proposes that we have an inner drive to be the best version of ourselves. Coming off this is kind of determined by either unconditional positive regard, which is that you're worthy of love from your parents or whoever you consider to be important in your life, regardless of your behavior. And then conditional positive regard, which means that you only receive attention or praise or rewards if you behave in certain ways that align with what people expect from you. So these kind of create your conditions of worth, which then either determines your ideal or real self. So if we're being our real self, it means we can act what we believe is authentically us. If we're being an ideal self, we're trying to kind of chase a dream or eventuality that we're probably never going to meet, and that tends to cause issues with our mental health. Next, we've got social learning theory, which is kind of the idea that we propose new behaviors, or they're developed by observing and imitating others. So one theory that was kind of came off of this was reciprocal determinism. So if we, for example, have parents that are really, really strict, so they bring us up in a strict household, we're probably going to study lots, which will affect our kind of the way we behave. And then our parents will look at this and be like, oh, okay, they've succeeded really well, so we're going to repeat this behavior. So it influences their behavior. So all of these kind of tie in with each other to kind of build certain behaviors and personalities. Then we've got our big personality theories. So we've got the big five, which is really well known. So these are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And there's also hexaco, which is honesty and humility, emotionality, extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and openness. So these are kind of big theories which outline the different types of personality, types of behaviors that make up personality. And then this is kind of tested through two different methods. One is through structured tests, which are kind of like things like the Likert scale, which would then accumulate information. And then we've got projective tests, things like the Rorschach test.